Hey, so welcome. I needed to come on to do this. Sorry about that. I'm just finishing up. I really needed to come on to answer this question, not quickly, but to answer it in detail because I'm going to say off the back right now, this even response may seem counterintuitive, but the reason why I'm answering the question like this, potato chips versus lentil chips, baked versus fried, because people that are really doing their best to eat healthier have to fully understand that there is a gap between good, better, best. And it depends on where you are on your journey. It can be good, better, or best, or it can depend on what diagnoses that you may be currently dealing with, or even if you are on medication. So today's question comes from my Fasting from Food, Seamoss group, and that group is made up of mature men and women. And what we're doing in this group is it is a support group and an accountability group. And the goal is to get you to fast up to 48 hours in a week. And so, of course, people are starting out fasting, and some of them are doing 12 hours and 16 hours. But while you are in the group, this fasting for fall group actually finishes the third week in December. And when we finish, we will start a new eating challenge for January. Now, in the group, the goal is to get us to fast up to 2 days, not just 48 hours, but 2 full days, which can lean a little bit over 48 hours, depending on when you start fasting. And we usually fast on a Monday and Tuesday, or unless it's a holiday, we'll skip that Monday and then we'll go to Tuesday and Wednesday. So I just wanted to give you a sorry, on the group and who the question arises from. So this question came where there was asked, Dr. Shea, what do you think about lentil chips? And is it something for me good for me to eat, or no? So one of the things I'm going to start with, I'm just give you a little bit of backdrop because when we think of potato chips and something like a lentil chips, we immediately have an opinion like, oh yeah, one is definitely better, right? So the conversation will be around potato chips and lentil chips. Okay, so let's look at potato chips first. Now, yes, potato chips are high in saturated fat, sodium, and they have a higher glycemic index response, somewhere between 55 and 58, somewhere around there, which means they raise your blood sugar a lot more quickly when you look at the glycemic index. Now, lentils, they're typically low in saturated fat, yes, and they have a lower glycemic index response, yes, like about 20, I want to say 25 to 29, somewhere around there. And they are, I call, a little bit more gentler on the blood sugar levels. Okay, so that's just the base when you think about lentils chips versus potato chips. Now, lentils also offer more fiber than potato, more iron, and also folate, and they support with digestion and they also help with metabolic health. Now, so that's lentils versus potato. Now, when we think about fried versus baked, so let's say fried absorb more oil, so it also increases the calories and it's unhealthy fat. In most cases, it's trans and it's hydrogenated oils, if that's what you're using. Now, baked chips, on the other hand, is generally lower in fat and calories, making them a better option when you think of things like just managing heart health, right? So if we keep that in perspective, yes, bake is better than frying, and lentil chips is better than potato chips in terms of what they can offer. However, here's the kicker behind this, and this is one of the things I need you to know. Even with all of the information given and what I said just now, both types of these chips, whether it's potato chips or lentil chips, is still considered a ultra processed food. And what that means is when a food is ultra processed, it in most cases contains preservatives, additives, and refined starches. And when a food is ultra processed, let's look at lentils, for example. Lentils is a food that is higher in fiber and iron and folate, some of the nutrients we just described. But when you take that food and you present it as an ultra processed food, the risk now becomes that all of these nutrients, the micronutrients in this food, is no longer there, or it's there in minuscule amounts. So when we think of lentils as a whole food, yes, it does offer that. But when we think of lentils as an ultra processed food, the answer is no. So now let me just add here, when it comes to chips. Chips is considered a snacking food. It's not a food that people generally will sit down and eat for lunch or for dinner. And worse, if you decide to eat chips and replace it with a meal. Now, remember the group that we talked about in the beginning, the fasting group, is made up of mature men and women, and these women in the group are either have a diagnosis of either pre-diabetic or diabetes, insulin resistant, high blood pressure, obese, and overweight. And in some cases, everyone does not have every diagnosis, and in addition to that, the people in the group, just like myself, some of them want to burn body fat and build muscles and strengthen bones. And so that's the purpose of this whole support group. So when we think of a group that is fasting 2 days to achieve health and healing first, and then that spins off to correcting a lot of the metabolic issues. When you think of potato chips versus lentil chips in this group, and then, in addition to that, is we don't necessarily advocate snacking, because snacking leads to additional empty calories in most cases. Because when people snack, they snack unhealthy. One, and even if they snack on a healthy food, uh, it is better to just eat a complete meal with a combination of all the macronutrients. Now, snacking, when you think about snacking, I would choose real lentils to snack on. Snacking isn't something that I advocate. That's my professional and personal opinion, especially if you want to release weight and you fit into those categories, especially if you are insulin resistant, because it keeps the insulin glycemic level index raised for longer periods of times and in between meals. And so when the glycemic index is raised consistently and constantly, you can now develop insulin resistance, and then it leads to being pre-diabetic. So we shouldn't even be considering snacking if you are in the fall for fasting support group. Okay. Now, when we think about healthy alternatives when we talk about snacking, I know people say, oh, well, okay, I don't snack on chips. I snack, I eat an apple. So I eat dinner and I have some flesh protein for dinner, and then I turn around and eat an apple. You just undo, yeah, all of the good in that healthy meal that included clean flesh protein, and then you ate an apple on top of that. So just so we're clear, at the end of this video, my advice to you is this. If you are in the fall fasting support group and you fit under those categories, especially if there's any chronic issues and illness or diagnoses like insulin resistance, pre-diabetic, diabetic, you are morbidly obese, or even 20 pounds overweight, you should not be snacking. And lentil chips is not a better option in this case. So, in my professional opinion, potato chips versus lentil chips, it's good, better, best. So, if you're at the beginning of your health journey and you are on a lot of medication, neither of them. No potato chips and no lentil chips. Now, if you are in the beginning on this journey and you are considered a healthy human, but you just overweight or even obese, then having some lentil chips once every 4 months is not a bad idea. I'm Dr. Shea, nutritionist and fasting expert. Just wanted to share a little bit about potato chips versus lentil chips to my support group. And again, thank you for your question. If you are in this group and if you continue to have questions about foods, just go ahead and put it in the group and I'll make sure to be able to do a video like this to give you information, my professional opinion on what it is that I'm suggesting that you do it. And the reason why I go so detailed is because I think it's super important that we understand it from a broader perspective, not just a perspective as, lentil chips are better than potato chips, because not in all cases the answer to that would be true. So again, thanks for joining me. And if you're interested in being a part of the Fall of Fasting group, here's my number, 242-801-4885. Just hit us up. Make sure you like and follow us on YouTube at Eat Emotionally Well, Instagram at Eat Emotionally Well, or TikTok and Facebook as well. Dr. Shea King, Eat Emotionally Well. And follow us, like, subscribe, and then hit me up on WhatsApp and say, Dr. Shea, I would love to be in the group. So I didn't want that to be too long, but anyway, I wanted to make sure that we understood the difference between potato chips versus lentil chips. And I hope that answered your question. Thanks for joining me.